Our first speaker this morning is Zack McAllister. Zack recently joined our club, and today he is giving us his Icebreaker speech. Zack was born and raised in Lethbridge, but he spent a year with his family in the Southern Hemisphere, living in New Zealand and traveling to Australia. Please help me welcome Zack with his Icebreaker presentation entitled Surviving Family Vacation. Zack McAllister.
Resilience. This is one trait that defines me. My first forays in developing my resilience occurred during the Spartanesque death marches of my early childhood, or what my family referred to as our family holidays. One notable experience was when I was backpacking with my family in New Zealand when I was 8 years old. The third day of the 4-day hike was a particularly difficult 18-kilometer climb to a mountain hut. Carrying a backpack almost as large as myself for 18 kilometers full of my sleeping bag, thermarest, and clothes would have been hard for most 8-year-olds. But what made this day particularly difficult was a torrential downpour that created flash flood-like conditions. I vividly remember trying to climb rock ledges that came up to my forehead that had turned into waterfalls in the downpour. It was not long in these conditions until my vision became blurry, both from the watering from my tears and the onset of early hypothermia. Luckily, a fireman, who was also doing the hike, came back from the hut to rescue us by carrying our packs the rest of the way. When we made it to the hut, I was stuffed into our warmest sleeping bag and put right next to the wood stove. I was shaking worse than doing an ice bucket challenge, and my teeth were chattering so bad I could not talk. There are many other such examples of what my dad would refer to as developing my mental toughness during our vacations. Sometimes we would run out of or not have an adequate amount of food. One such example was when we were biking in the isolated Central Highlands of Tasmania when I was 13. It was not a particularly long day, only 60 kilometers or so, but our bikes were loaded with over 40 pounds of equipment for a month-long tour, and the grade was like the Southside Hill. Needless to say, at the end of the day, I was pretty exhausted. I was relying on a good meal to keep up my energy. However, the campground that we were relying on for food only had a bait and tackle store. The only food we had left was a quarter cup of freeze-dried mashed potatoes and 1/3 of a raw onion. After eating my potato ration, in desperation, I bit into that raw onion like it was a Honeycrisp apple. I could go on with other stories, but in all honesty, thriving these family holidays did help me develop the resilience that enabled me to reach my goals, like qualifying for 2012 and 2016 Paralympic Games. I consider resilience one of my greatest strengths, as well as a potential weakness. Sometimes it is a weakness because it makes me slow to recognize that I even need to fix difficult situations instead of adapting to them. Don't tell my car insurance this, but for example, last winter my car had a slow leak in the power steering fluid. At first I thought the steering was only a bit stiff because of the cold. Well, by 2 months later, I had no power steering fluid left. When taking a simple turn with both hands straining at the wheel, I could hear the column cracking and popping under the pressure. Each drive felt like a gym workout. It was only after another week of driving like that I thought maybe I should fix it. Anyway, that is a little bit about me. Hopefully that gives you a better idea who I am as a person. I just graduated from the University of Lethbridge with a degree in neuroscience, in which I achieved great distinction. For the near future, I hope to work on my public speaking, to better my communication skills for med school, which I applied to this year. And to shamelessly plug, on the behest of Freddie, I specifically joined this club because the website bios let me know that this club has the most capable and knowledgeable speakers in town. And so far, I have not been disappointed. Thank you.